The savings are around $150 million, and we have a tracking system on a public drive that is totally open to everybody in the company to be able to see. And when you submit an idea, we promise you feedback as to either we are going to implement it, when and why, or we're not, and when and why. And the idea is, you know better than people sitting in the corporate office about how to make this a better place. We want people to be accountable. We want them to be, responsible. We want them to be motivated. Safety is key. And if we set targets, and if we reach them, and then we set new targets, then by continuous incremental improvement, we will keep getting better. So we feel very strongly that we do have the responsibility to create our own futures together, that we treat everyone with respect and we encourage participation, that if we have the right vision, strategy, and tactics, and if they tie, then we got the beginning, the foundation is right. Then I think we have to remember it's about customers. We are here to serve customers with excellent, cost-effective products made on world-class equipment by motivated people. And if we stay focused on continuous improvement, where we all share in the success, then we can build a great company here together. It's really important to understand that in the Severstal system and culture, it is a never-stand-still culture. So it is always challenging new thought, and I would just encourage you to think about grabbing either of these two books. These are things that we've been talking about and ideas that we've been working on implementing. Good to Great has been around for quite some time, and the main theory is, generally speaking, get the bus headed in the right direction. It doesn't have to be the perfect direction, in the right direction. Generally speaking, get the right people in the bus, then get them on the right seats, and you get the right foundation then to set. And I think the other book, I like the other book actually a lot, because it says you don't have to have a title to be a leader. You can lead from any position within the company. It just means you feel strongly about what is right, and you work hard to implement the right things. And you use influence with the people around you to get them to do the right things. Thought it might be important for you to learn a little bit of Russian. So these are Severstal sayings, and so this is our way of teaching you a little bit of Russian. And the first one is pretty obvious. If you don't speak metric, then you're going to have to learn to speak Russian. Second one, I think the second two are really, really important. Discover the truth. Find the real cause of the problem. I can tell you that time and time and time again, Alexei would ask a question. He's a very detail-oriented guy. He's very into the business. He cares about the numbers, the equipment, the people, and he'll ask a question about a problem, and someone will spit out an answer, and he'll immediately say, I doubt you really discovered the truth. You came up with immediate rational explanations, but did you really peel the onion back to understand what caused that problem and find the right solution? And his theory is the reason people do that is because the assumption that we all have is that there's a problem. It must have been someone that caused it. We have to blame them, and they automatically have to get punished. And so that really begat the second or the third idea here: be ruthless with the problems and gentle with the people. So in other words, if we don't say that the problems are really what we want to solve, and we're not encouraging people to talk openly about the problems, even if they may have been complicit or part of causing the problem, then we will never get problems solved. We'll never become a good company. And then I think the final point is good is the enemy of great. And that strictly says, hey, you get pretty good. Here in one, we'll start making 80, 90 million bucks a year. We'll feel pretty good. We'll get comfortable. We'll lay back. And the next thing we know, we'll be making 40 and not 80 or 90. And our competitors will have passed us. They'll have taken some of our business. So the reality is, it's just don't get complacent. But it would be important, since Alexei is going to be here, to just tell you some of the things that are important to him personally. He's a quantitative, not a descriptive guy. So, don't describe to me in a bunch of words what the world is. Tell me in numbers. Show me the facts. Triangulate it from 3 different angles. Prove that that's really what it is. He wants to know what is the actual performance against the theoretical capacity. So the theoretical capacity says you have absolutely no delays. None. Zero. So what is the theoretical capacity? What's the current capacity? Now how do we start debottlenecking those delays so that we can open up more capacity, because essentially it's like free money to do that. Challenge versus explain, and again, he doesn't necessarily like explanations, he likes challenges. In other words, okay, we are where we are. What's the challenge of how we're going to get to a better place? He definitely hates waste. He definitely hates poor housekeeping. So I think I was having a discussion with Mike earlier, saying maybe over the course of the next month, since he's going to be coming, we should probably put a lock on all the paint within the next 30 or 40 miles of the plant and get the place in good shape, put a heck of a lot of lights up, make it bright, and then keep it that way. Because once you put up all these lights and you start to see the clutter and you start to see the dirt, things that you can trip on and get injured, things that you can't find and so you have to buy double of, it opens up a whole new way to be lean. He's a strong believer that breakdowns confirm poor management and poor maintenance, so he doesn't believe there's really ever a good explanation for a breakdown. If you're really doing preventative the way it's meant to be done, you shouldn't break down. And then stretch. In other words, don't set an easy target, set a stretch target and deliver. So what should you expect, what should we expect to be happening now in this first 100 days? So in the first 100 days, together with you, we'll be assessing the safety program, we'll be assessing the condition of the blast furnace and beginning to take action as quickly as possible, because it is, the key production unit. Without that blast furnace, there isn't a plant here. We got to get into what's the critical spares. Give you an example. We lost a motor on the tandem mill at Sparrows Point a couple weeks ago. There's no spare. There's no backup. So we had to dummy out one of the stands, and we were down for 2 weeks. It'll take 3 months to fix the motor and a year to get a spare. Now, that's not a very good position to find ourselves in. Critical backup systems. So, for example, if you only have one electrical feed and you lose it, you just lost the whole plant. With Dearborn, we have dual feeds. So we want to do a critical assessment of backup and utilities. I think we need to begin establishing goals and targets. We need to do the CapEx analysis. It's very important here to understand that Severstal is a market-driven company, so a lot of CapEx is based on what the sales and marketing guys say about the future. So our view is not where are we now, but where are our customers going to be in 5 or 10 years, and so we ought to be aiming there so that as we begin a CapEx program right now that oftentimes can take 2 or 3 years to implement, by the time it's implemented, we're still targeting where customers are going, not where they've been. Business plan development and financial consolidation, so we'll have to work on cost systems and things like that. Raw material plan, key supplier relationships, so we probably have a little bit of hand-holding to do. We may have some customer hand-holding to do. We'll begin introducing some benchmarking concepts. Hopefully we have 0 glitches with employee benefits, but if for some reason we do, we'll work to get them debugged as quickly as possible. And then obviously between the plants, there's definitely synergies between the plants, and so we got to begin unlocking the synergies and creating value. I'll give you an example of that. In the current market that we're in, with the automotive being soft and with appliance being soft, all of a sudden sales have dropped a little bit in the Midwest. Well, they haven't dropped at all on the East Coast. In fact, we could probably sell Sparrows Point out twice, and we could export it, and we can export it at one heck of a high price. So as an example, one of the things we're doing right now is we've increased the export out of Sparrows Point, and we're shipping hot bands from Dearborn to Sparrows Point for their cold mill. So that's a synergy, because what would the world have done in the past? We would have said, well, we need to run full, so let's just cut the price $50 a ton. Well, now we don't have to do that. So we have to unlock the synergies between all of the various operations to create value. So if you wanted to say from the overall corporate Severstal perspective, what is this all about? I think it's all said in this last slide, and that is achieve more together. And if you look at all the little things around the side, from excellence to performance to people to efficiency, going the extra mile, if everybody in this room and the people that are going to be here this afternoon and tomorrow, everyone in this room commits to these things, then there is no doubt that we can achieve more together. We are very confident that this plant can return to $90 or $100 million of EBITDA per year. We're very confident that we can get there. So that's the end of the formal part. Now we get to the informal part, where you get to ask as many questions as you like to ask. We'll do our best to answer them. The ones that we can't answer, we'll tell you why we can't answer them or when we'll be